Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Rama. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Should we continue? Okay. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagvat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 11, which is titled The Childhood Pastimes of Krishna. And the texts that we're supposed to read are 33 to 47. Right? Sorry. I got the numbers mixed. How do you do it? Let's do that. Okay.
In this way, Krishna and Balaram, acting like small boys and talking in half-broken language, gave transcendental pleasure to all the inhabitants of Raja. In due course of time, they became old enough to take care of the cows.
Not far away from their residential quarters, both Krishna and Balaram, equipped with all kinds of playthings, played with other cowherd boys and began to tend the small cows.
Sometimes Krishna and Balaram would play on their flutes. Sometimes they would throw ropes and stones devised for carrying fruits from the trees. Sometimes they would throw only stones, and sometimes their ankle bell games. They would play football with fruit like Bale and Amalek. Sometimes they would cover themselves with blanket and imitate cows and bulls and fight with one another, roaring loudly, and sometimes they would imitate the voices of the animals. In this way, they enjoyed sporting exactly like two ordinary human children.
One day, while
Rama and Krishna, along with their playmates, were tending the cows on the bank of the river Yamuna, another demon arrived there, desiring to kill them.
And the Supreme Personality of Godhead saw that the demon had assumed the form of a cat and entered among groups of other cats. He pointed out to Baladev, "Here is another demon." Then he very slowly approached the demon, as if he did not understand the demon's intentions.
So this is the text that we will recite, text 43. Grihit vaparpadhabhyam Saha langulamachyutah Brahmayitva kapithagre Prahinodgata jivitam Sakapithair mahakayah Patyamanah papatah. Should we repeat? Would you like to repeat?
गृहीत्वा पादपादाभ्याम्
सह लङ्गूलमच्युतः ब्रह्मयित्वा कपित्थाग्रे प्राहिणोद्गतजीवितम् स कपित्थिर्महाकायः पात्यमानय पपातः
गृहीत्वा पादपादाभ्याम्
सह लाङ्गुलमच्युतः ब्रह्मयित्वा कपित्थाग्रे प्राहिणोद्गतजीविताम् स कपित्थिर्महाकायः पात्यमानय पपातः गृहीत्वा परपादाभ्याम् सह लाङ्गुलमच्युतः ब्रह्मयित्वा कपित्थाग्रे प्राहिणोद्गतजीविताम् स कपित्थैर्महाकायः पात्यमानय पपातः. We'll do the word for word. Grihitva, capturing. Apara padabhyam, with the hind legs. Saha, along with. Langulam, the tail. Achyutaha, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma Yitva, twirling around very severely. Kapita Agre, on the top of the Kapita tree. Prahinot, through him. Gata Jivitam, lifeless body. Saha, that demon. Kapitahe, with the Kapita tree. Mahakayaha, assumed a great body. Patyamanai, and while the tree fell down, Papataha, he fell dead on the ground. Translation. Thereafter, Shri Krishna caught the demon by the hind legs and tail, twirled the demon's whole body very strongly until the demon was dead, and threw him into the top of a kapita tree, which then fell down along with the body of the demon who had assumed a great form. Purport. Krishna killed the demon in such a way to get the kapita fruits to fall so that he and Balram and the other boys could take advantage of the opportunity to eat them. The kapita is sometimes called kshat bel phal. The pulp of this fruit is very palatable. It is sweet and sour and everyone likes it. I offer my respectful obeisances to my spiritual masters who have allowed me to stay alive in Krishna consciousness and who continue to mercifully encourage me and overlook all my mistakes. My respectful obeisances to all of you for being present here today. Hare Krishna. So in this chapter, which is the childhood pastimes of Shri Krishna, there's, I'm sure we've read through the different pastimes of the different demons who were killed by Krishna. We are in this phase where Krishna and Balram have been entrusted to take care of the calves. It was actually Krishna Krishna's desire that he wanted to go and explore the forests of Vrindavan. So he told his parents, you know what, I'm ready. Why don't you let me go and attend to the calves? And Nanda Maharaj is surprised by his request because he feels that usually parents entrust the children with responsibility. Why don't you go do this? And children usually run away. But here Krishna is coming forward and asking for responsibility. I mean, there was a whole dialogue between Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda because she didn't want Krishna to go out. But eventually Krishna was entrusted with the responsibility of taking care of the calves. And we had the festival of Gopashtami and then Krishna and the calves. Krishna was in charge of the calves. And here in this particular pastime, the killing of Vatsasura is described. Vatsa is a name for calf in Sanskrit, Vatsa. And this demon disguised himself as a calf. And he entered the arena of Krishna's calves and he thought, Krishna won't notice. He has so many calves. I'll just sneak in and, create some mischief there. But as soon as he entered, Krishna noticed that there was somebody here who didn't belong there. And it is said, I was hearing a lecture by His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and he was saying that Krishna knows each of the calves by their name. So the moment somebody enters who doesn't belong there, then Krishna knows instantly. And Krishna used to walk behind the calves. And he was, I guess, not very tall. He was just tall enough that he would stand a little bit ahead of higher than the calves. And he would walk behind. So if a calf would wander away, he would call the calf by name and ask them to come back. That's how personal Krishna's care for his calves was. And when this calf entered, thinking that he could cheat Krishna, sure enough, he noticed, and he hinted to Balram that, this doesn't belong here, and Balram agreed. And even before the demon could do anything, Krishna just snuck up behind the back, held the hind legs, twirled the demon around, and threw him away. And that was it. And Krishna, obviously, in the purport and the verse, it is described that Krishna threw the demon, and the demon landed on top of a tree. And while the demon was being twirled around, he was already losing his life air. And at that time, he assumed his original form of a ghastly body, like a huge body, and he fell on top of the tree fell down, the fruits came down, and all the cowherd boys enjoyed the fruits. So there's many different things that we can derive from this verse, and I'll share some, and then we can, like I always like to do, we can just have some discussion. The first one that really stood out for me was that how Krishna is so personal. Like, you imagine knowing all the calves. Like, I have trouble remembering people's names, like people, who you interact with. But Krishna is the perfect in his personalism with everyone, even the calves. And this this demon impersonated a calf. So he was trying to cheat Krishna. And so in our scriptures, again, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was saying that Vatsasura represents the tendency of wickedness. It's not a weakness, but wickedness. And there's a difference between the two. The difference is that we all have weaknesses. We all have our challenges that we try to overcome. But the place where we stop, feeling that, this is a weakness that I need to work on, but we say, it's okay, It's okay, I can pretend to be somebody. That's where wickedness kicks in. That's wickedness. And Krishna has room to forgive our weakness, but he just chucks out wickedness, like he did with this demon, who was pretending to be someone he wasn't. So for me, that point is very powerful, because all of us in our practice of Krishna consciousness, I'm sure we can list many things that we struggle with. At least I can. I have a weakness of this, I get angry, I have difficulty doing this or that. And it's okay to have weaknesses. But it's not okay to pretend that everything's okay. That's the difference. And we can't sneak in a guise of an advanced devotee, because we can fool the whole world, but we can't fool Krishna. And at the end of the day, it really just depends on Krishna's understanding, Krishna knowing us, and obviously the Guru and Krishna. It doesn't matter what the rest of the world may think. We are this innocent little calf in the herd of Krishna's calves. But what we really are is what Krishna looks at. And there's many things that can be spoken about, the weakness, because when we experience weakness and we're vulnerable of the weakness, we bring it to the attention of our trusted well-wishers, and they help us progressively move forward. It's not going to be easy, we're going to fail, we're going to fall. But again, even if success is not guaranteed, even if we may not succeed in Krishna consciousness, we can fail in Krishna consciousness. It's better than falling out of Krishna consciousness. Again, it's Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. So I'm just qualifying where I'm getting this from. So because I thought that it was very powerful, because sometimes we feel like, okay, we fall on the other extreme. I'm too fallen. I can't do anything. Nothing's going to work. All these devotees, they look so put together. They have everything nailed down. Their sadhana is spotless. The senior devotees respect them. They're making advancement. And look at me, the black sheep here. I can't even get myself to the Mangal Arati on time. I'm just sharing like an exaggerated version of what could cross our mind. But it's still better to fail while we're trying rather than stop trying. I mean, the mundane equivalent of this is that we only fail when we stop trying. So once you quit, then your failure is 100%. But if we just keep trying, one day there will be a moment where things will click and the mercy will come upon us. I mean, our scriptures are full of examples like that. The Chataka bird that waits for the drop of rain from the cloud, or the story of Damodar Leela, where there's our endeavor and there's Krishna's mercy. So there's a lot to encourage us on the way, but we must know that the integrity with which we present ourselves, and ultimately Krishna knows, because Krishna is in our heart. So we can't pretend to be somebody who we're not. Ultimately, that's the test. It's better to, be a faltering and failing and barely making it than pretending somebody who we're not. Because even before Krishna, because obviously Krishna knows everything, but even before that, it's a very isolating place. Because if you're struggling and nobody else knows, nobody can help you. So Krishna, of course, he knows. But even on a material, semi-spiritual platform, if nobody knows, then nobody can extend a helping hand. So it's an isolating place, it's a lonely place. And we should make an endeavor to actually put ourselves out there, not on social media, but on respectful circles, respectful person. That's the saving grace that we have in the association of devotees in this big movement of Krishna consciousness, beyond the organization, beyond the logistics, beyond the goals, beyond the services. The real thing is that we have access to being vulnerable, and we have access to receive correction and encouragement. So that's one point that I wanted to make about weakness. And the second one is that Monal Prabhu had suggested that we talk. The lesson from this verse is that Krishna never does one thing just because he wants to do one thing. It's always perfectly orchestrated. He's the best multitasker. Everything is done for a reason. So in this situation where the demon was to be taken care of, he threw the demon exactly at a place where the tree would come down and everybody could enjoy this. Srila Prabhupada says, in the purport it said, it's a very palatable fruit. So it's like, that's a perfect orchestration. Can we think of any other pastimes where you feel that Krishna is doing many things at the same time? Of course, we know that the inherent rule behind pastimes is that destroy the demons and give pleasure to the devotees. That's like a given multitasking that happens inherently in Krishna's appearance and all his pastimes. But other than that, like something...
Govardhan pastime is breaking the pride of Indra and also spending time with...
fulfilling everybody's desires of spending time. Yes, that's true. Damodar Leela. What two things or more than two things does Krishna accomplish in Damodar Leela?
Well, the love of Yeshwara.
Yes.
And the curse.
Yes, to fulfill the word of Narada Muni, that he would liberate, Krishna would liberate. Yes. Any others? Yes, Prabhu.
Brahma Vimohan Leela.
Yes, Brahma Vimohan Leela. So he Brahmaji gave a reality check to Brahmaji, and he fulfilled everybody's desire in Vrindavan to have a son like Krishna, right? For 1 full year. Yes.
Seems like he also likes to throw demons on top of the Talavan. It
Yes.
reminds me of throwing them on top, and I think it looked very beautiful.
The demons.
They were all these asses, donkeys, demons, but I think it's described that it looked a very beautiful sight with all these different donkeys thrown on top of all these tala trees.
And actually, by doing that, by killing the demon, Krishna unlocked the Talavan forest so that everybody could enjoy it as well. Yes. Any others? Anyone else would like to add? I mean, I'm sure if we go into the depth of it, there's many such pastimes where Krishna is, even in the Dwarka Leela, there's the one that you were referring to this morning with Muchukunda.
Kalevan and something.
Muchukunda had this thing where he wanted to sleep because he was very tired. I think he was double dutying as a temple commander. We understand the feeling. I don't know how many of you do, but I completely can relate to the feeling that I just want to sleep and nobody should disturb me. And then he was given that benediction that, anybody who wakes you up will be just destroyed. And Krishna fulfilled that perfectly, the perfect juxtaposition. That time that demon came, and he was destroyed. Something very close to all of you, where Krishna enacts his pastimes in our mundane purview, where multiple things happen at the same time, is when you go on Sankirtan. And I will share something very personal that happened. When we started the marathon, it was the first day we decided, we always in the marathon try to go out every weekend. As you know, we go out once a month during the broader team of Sankirtan devotees outside the Bhakti Academy. We try to go out once a month on Saturdays for an MSF, monthly Sankirtan festival. But during the marathon, we try to go out every weekend, every Saturday. So we go out door to door because it's very cold. This was the first Saturday. And you know how it is when you turn the wheels after a long time and they're so rusty? And you're starting to question, why am I even doing this? What's the point? My kids are crying. I have to get them ready. There's so much traffic. It's so cold. Nobody else is coming. Why do I have to do it? And we went there and I told Prabhu, I really don't feel like going today. He said, okay, we'll just go. We'll touch the pavement and we'll come back. And the first door, that was the most magical day actually on book distribution. Oh, that's true. Pradeep Prabhu is there. We went out. Yeah, Pradeep Prabhu has been very instrumental in the logistics of all these outings. So the one door we knocked, I clearly remember, there was this lady. She opened the door and she's like, she saw the Bhagavad Gita and she's like, wow, I was waiting for this. You won't believe what happened. She said this to me. You won't believe what happened. 2 years ago, on my birthday, I wanted a Bhagavad Gita. She was an Indian girl. I wanted a Bhagavad Gita and I asked my parents to give me a Bhagavad Gita. And in India, we went to the temple, we got the Bhagavad Gita, but now I have come here and I don't have a Bhagavad Gita and today is my birthday. And I want the Bhagavad Gita and you came. Krishna sent you. I said, no, Krishna sent you. Because I was questioning, why am I doing this? Does it really matter? And she's, that was, and I'm sure if you all reflect in your journeys, when we are down in the dumps and we go out, we take that, so-called call of duty. I'm going to show up. Then Krishna reciprocates. Now in this one supposed story, there are many people who are being benefited. This lady who I've never seen before, and I don't know who she was, she had this journey with Krishna and Krishna consciousness that had to, fructify in Canada like that. And I had my own challenges that I was dealing with, and Krishna wanted to, I don't know, I shouldn't speculate what Krishna wanted to do with me, but I felt like that reinforcement that I needed, that you're doing the right thing, just keep doing it. It makes a difference. Many times, especially with a service like that, you start to question that, is it really even worth it? Like, what's the difference? If I don't go, what big deal is it going to make? They're going to distribute 4.6 million Gitas around the world anyway. Now, how is my few Gitas going to make a difference? But that day, I really experienced that and there were many such stories. We met, I think she was a Spanish lady, I can't remember, but she was doing a PhD, yeah? No, okay. Thank you. She was an Arabic lady. And she was doing her PhD, and at first, when you knock a door, if you've done door-to-door Sankirtan, sometimes people ask you, who is it behind the door? And I told her that I'm visiting from a local yoga center and I'm here to share some books on yoga and meditation. And usually when people ask that question behind the door, the success rate of the door opening is very, very less, Because they're just usually asking if it's a family member and then they'll open the door. But if they hear it's somebody else, they don't open the door. But this lady, she opened the door. And I saw that she was not an Indian person. So I started to have a conversation with her. I started showing her 4 questions. And then I asked her if she had heard about yoga and meditation. And I showed her the Bhagavad Gita. I said, have you heard about that? She's like, I've heard about the Bhagavad Gita and I've been looking for the Bhagavad Gita because she was in she was doing her PhD in some sort of a psychotherapy. So she is familiar with the different streams of thought, and she was so happy to receive it. She gave us such nice donation. So it's like, people have all these different people. Krishna is accomplishing so many things in the same go. He's encouraging the devotees who are fledgling, trying, and he's fulfilling the desires of all these other souls who may have asked for knowledge, who may have, wondered what the purpose of their life is, and he's putting the two together. You feel like you're making a difference in someone's life, and the other person feels like, wow, I just got some direction. So I felt that Sankirtan is a live example of where we can see Krishna's multitasking at its best. And at the same time, I'm sure there are days when nobody stops when you try to do books, because there is something in us that needs to be taken away. That pride. So there are many of these facets when we enter the realm of devotional service. Even though I can speak for myself that I'm so materially tainted, I'm not at a place where I can say that I'm doing any far impression of pure devotional service. There's all these challenges that I bring to the table, but the realm of it is so electric that it's just electric actually, that it just, you touch it and you get affected by it. So that's the power of Krishna's orchestration. Anybody else have any stories that they feel where Krishna acted in such a way? Yeah, let's do that.
It was last year winter, around this time. So it was not a regular day.
Last year?
It was not a regular Bhakti Academy day. Like we have off days, so
Right.
it was one of the off days. Me and Satatu, we decided that let's go out today. Let's distribute some books. So we went out. It was very cold, and no one was stopping. We were not able to distribute one book in 1.5 hours. We were just there trying to, stop people. They were not even stopping to talk. So we were doing that, and then I was like, Satatu, we at least need to distribute one book. We came out here, what are we doing? And then we kind of made a prayer to Krishna. Krishna, if you so desire, please let us distribute one book. So send someone. So then there was a girl sitting on a bench. I think she had a run, and then she was sitting there just to calm down. So we went there. I was not very hopeful, but I was like, okay, let's just approach her. And we went there, and we gave her a book, and then after everything, she took the book, and I was like, okay, what is your name? I didn't get your name. And she was like, Chaitanya. What? that was my reaction. What? Like, yes, Chaitanya. I said, do you even know the meaning of your name? And then she came to the yoga studio program also.
Very nice.
And she was connected. She was reading 4 questions. Very nice girl. So yeah, I saw that how Krishna reciprocates. And then we were very happy, even though we only distributed one book, but we were very
Felt
happy.
like a million books. Well, anybody else would like to share, and then I'll say something. No? Many years ago, and Radhamohan Prabhu loves to tell this story, but I will tell in a condensed.
All that you say.
There is, many years ago, I think this is just before my kids, 14, 15 years ago, there was this devotee named Mangalarti Mataji, and she's still there. She used to run a yoga preaching center, a mantra lounge or urban edge yoga, I think it was called at that time. It was at Bloor and Spadina. So I don't know if it's still there, but there was a restaurant called Fresh there. And just next to it, there was on the second floor, there was a yoga studio. So we used to do, as a part of our service at that time, we would go and distribute books. We did 2 hours of Sankirtan every week, outside of the weekend or whatever. And I used to, stand by myself and try to distribute books. At that time, this one gentleman came and he was, he came and I stopped him, hi, how are you? And he was so angry at me. Like, I know you people, just go away. We don't need you anymore. What is all this that you're doing? And he was like really angry. And me, 13, 15 years ago, I was, I would get affected by that kind of people. So I was very, very disturbed by that interaction. And I went home and I told Radhamohan Prabhu that I met this person, and, it was really disturbing for me. And I was actually quite affected because, if somebody yells at you like that on the street, and then the next time I came, actually Radhamohan Prabhu came with me, and I was on the other side of the street distributing books, and Radhamohan Prabhu was standing where I used to stand. And I came around the street and I saw he was talking to this other person, the same person. And I'm waving from behind, like, don't talk to him, he's the same person. And I saw that he was actually exchanging a card with Radhamohan Prabhu, and he was, am I right? And he was taking a book from him. And I was like, what just happened? And then we actually learned that person mistook Radhamohan Prabhu for Mahabhagavat Prabhu, who was also on that spot before us some few days ago, and they had a conversation, just a conversation. So from me meeting that person several weeks ago, then Mahabhagavat Prabhu met that person, and then Radhamohan Prabhu met that person, who finally had an exchange, finally took a book, finally opened up, and then we found out that he used to come to the temple several years ago, and he had a bad experience and he was burnt out. But then, over a period of time, he actually had a transformation of his heart. So when he yelled at me, that was probably his first interaction with the devotees in a long time, and I got the brunt of it. But then eventually, through all these devotees, he transformed, he received the book, he furthered his journey, he had a, like I said, a transformation of the heart. And all of us also learned that when you are doing Sankirtan and somebody takes a book, it's not all you, You don't know how many blood, sweat and tears other people have spent on that person before. Do you want to add something?
Yeah. 5 seconds to that, So I was not ready to do Sankirtan because, Mangalam Mataji was like, you had to do it. That day when I went down, I was just not ready. I didn't want to even try. So I was just standing there, almost grudging. I didn't want to do it. And this guy, and this Indian senior gentleman, he came running to me with a big smile. I wasn't even stopping. I was just making sure I clocked in my time and get out. He came running because he thought I'm Mahabhagavat Prabhu. So Mahabhagavat Prabhu neutralized things in the middle a few weeks ago. So he came, something, Prabhu, something. And okay, this guy's coming. So we started talking. And I'm an astrologer, and he gave me a pen and this and that. And in the end, I thought, okay, wow, what a favorable person. Let me just, oh yeah, he gave me like $2 also. Then I gave him a book. And she was at the back. What is your problem? He's like, Vaisheshika Prabhu's all the tick mark. Smiling, favorable. He's coming and taking the book from me. And why she's saying no. So that's how it was like, how Krishna did a multi thing. I got, oh wow, I distributed a book. It's the same guy. And he would not have come to me because I looked like Mahabhagavat Prabhu somehow at that time. And Mahabhagavat Prabhu, had a longer conversation, like, please, whatever. So everybody got involved. That was a weird story.
I think, though, what is important to note in this story, and just going back to the verse that we were talking about, is that connection of the understanding the weakness versus the wickedness aspect, and how in all of these stories or in all of your interactions when you prayed that day, that was a sincere desire. You were not pretending, oh, I have to do these books so I can go and show off how many books I can do. It was a sincere desire, and then when the desire is sincere, then Krishna jumps in. And Srila Prabhupada says that the sincerity of purpose is the biggest qualification of the devotee. So we may not externally be able to achieve many things, but if we are sincere, then Krishna will jump in. He will make arrangements. He will allow us to progressively make a difference. Yes, it's very painful when we go through the process because we see, again, we are at a stage where we have association, but association can work both ways. You can get inspired by looking at everybody's progress, or you can get depressed by looking at everybody's progress. You think, I am the only one. I am so fallen that I can't even do anything properly. But if we take it in the right way, if we have the association and we have space to be vulnerable and open ourselves up, then there is potential for us to make progress. Because Krishna is rooting for us. He wants us to do better. Again, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu gave this example of a coach. Many players play, but if you get a good coach who sees the potential in you, he makes you believe that you can do it. He will train you up that, let's do this, let's cross this thing, let's cross this milestone. So Krishna is like that coach. He's there with us. And he wants us to win. He's actually the only one who wants us to win in the absolute sense. I mean, obviously, Guru Krishna, I'm speaking of them as synonymous because they don't have that envy or they don't have that thing, okay, if he grows bigger than me, then what will happen to me? Nobody will remember me. So all of that, Krishna really wants us to win and he's cheering for us. And success will happen. Is it going to be easy? No. But it's still better than trying in Krishna consciousness than quitting. So that's, that sincerity of purpose is magical. If we are sincere, then we will see Krishna acting through many ways. It will not be simple, it will not be instant. Like, okay, it's not, I'm sincere, where is the noodles? Like that instant culture of Maggie and whatever. I don't even know what people eat these days, but, it's not, Krishna consciousness is not an instant culture. It is powerful, it takes time, but Krishna will not forget. He's assured. Every single thing, every single prayer, every single tear, Krishna is not going to forget. And it is going to manifest. We just need to give it time. The very famous verse in the 10th canto, which you must have done, Tatenu Kampam Susamikshamana. A rich man's son just has to stay alive. Through the ups and downs, the euphoric days and the days when we are down in the dumps, we just have to stay alive. One step after the other, one step after the other. And when the time is right, Krishna will show you the result of everything and much more. Another name for Krishna that Vaisheshika Prabhu often quotes is Atita Vancha. He fulfills your desires beyond what you can handle. All desires are fulfilled. But everything has the right time. Why? Because Krishna again does the multitasking in such a way that everything is perfect. He could have just given the fruits to the friends, the cowherd boys, or he could have just killed the demon somewhere else. But he positioned them in such a way that it was perfect. And when it's perfect, you feel it. So that's why Krishna, if your desires are not being fulfilled right now, hang tight. Either, Krishna has the best plan. They will be fulfilled at the right time when the right result is beneficial for you. Like even in our Krishna consciousness, even in our practice, sometimes we feel that, when we do events, I used to serve at we had the Bhakti Yoga Club at the University of Toronto many, many years ago. Maybe some of you are not even that old, but 18 years, 2006. At that time, I used to pray for people to come because it would be, and social media wasn't really a thing at that time. Facebook was just starting out, I think, or maybe it wasn't even there. It was. I would put out 1,000 flyers because one of my mentors from UK told me that for every 100 flyers you put, one person will come. So I would put out 1,000 flyers and I would take a staple gun and go around the university and put it out. And I would pray for people to come. And then my mentor, he reminded me that Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna can give us the whole world, but we are not ready. So we have to be, our desires can be there, but we also have to be ready to face the results of our desires. So we have to, our sincere desires are, I really strongly believe, our sincere desires and prayers don't go in vain. So our sincerity is the only thing we can control. We can't control the results. We can't control other people. We can't control the reciprocation that we get. Some people are attached. We value reciprocation. All of us value reciprocation, but we cannot control reciprocation sometimes. Sometimes you may get reciprocation. Sometimes you may not get reciprocation. But these things, not only our sincerity and our ability to be vulnerable. These are the only two things that count. And again, like I said earlier, the challenge with pretense is that it's isolating. Nobody can reach out to us for help. It's better to be vulnerable and, vulnerable and ready for taking suggestions, because some people don't make vulnerability a pastime, How was your day? So bad. I had so much to do and this happened and that happened. Like there's a difference between just, venting all the time and actually seeking guidance for the sake of benefiting yourself and everybody else. So we have to be careful. Again, everything is just about intentions. A lot of our advancement, our progress comes from internal churning of experiences. Sometimes our interactions happen with other people, and you are out of impulse, you want to act a certain way. Yeah, anybody impulsive here, or am I just the only one? Can you give me an example? When you felt like you had to act out of him, like you couldn't control your impulse?
I'll give you a vague
हाँ, vague दे दो.
7:30 we're supposed to, 5:30 we're supposed to finish an RP, but it's like 5:45. I'm like, what's going on?
Then what do? Go take the mic away? But it's hard, right? And also because this is your responsibility. It's not like somebody's encroaching your personal space and you're getting irritated. It's your responsibility to make sure that the artis finish on time, the class starts on time, that the devotees are respecting the schedule. And then what do you do, Prabhu? How do you handle the situation?
I look at Jigar and he
Well, when in doubt, always escalate. You will never go wrong.
Or sometimes you will feel this intense stare. And you look at him and he's like,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like,
Turn the mic off. Like,
Actually, I joked about it, but it's true. Many times our problems become bigger because we try to solve everything ourselves. But in our, the beauty of the institution of Krishna consciousness is that the structures are there. We have ability to escalate matters. We should escalate matters. Sometimes the authorities may be able to help. Sometimes they may not be able to instantly give a solution. Again, because it's a voluntary organization. I wouldn't equate to Krishna, but even if there's a conflict between two devotees, the authorities have to act in a way that both have to ultimately stay in Krishna consciousness. They cannot give a quick fix, okay, just take this person out and this is the hero of the day, because in the long run, that is not helping. I'm not saying that such decisions haven't been made, but I'm just saying that we don't know the context. What I'm trying to say is quick fixes are hard in such situations. In corporates, it's easy. You can just fire and hire people. But that's not what we are doing. It's better to fail in Krishna consciousness than to fall out of Krishna consciousness. So the main goal of this whole Krishna consciousness movement, all the services, all the organization, is that we progressively do better ourselves and everybody else gets to do better. So that main purpose has to be the underlying current of every decision that's made, and it's challenging. It's very challenging. That's why sometimes things take longer. But whenever in doubt, I think escalation is the right thing. I also feel I used to be much more impulsive than I am right now. I feel things strongly and I would react right away, because if people were doing wrong things, if somebody was walking into the temple kitchen with their street clothes on, I would go and tell them that you're not supposed to do this, and they would get mad at me. Like, who are you? We have been coming to this temple for 30 years. You're going to tell us, all that kind of stuff. But then I realized it's about how I position myself that allows other people to respond properly. And what is the main purpose behind everything? So taking our time to frame the response also helps in that situation, because impulse is almost always wrong. Impulsive reaction is almost always wrong because we are getting governed by our senses, our lower modes, where actually you can see, step back and you can feel that the modes are, not like that, loosening their grip. Because when the situation happens and you react right away, you are in the thick of it. And the other person's modes will get agitated, they will take it to another level, and before you know, it's an explosion. Yes, Prabhu?
Yes, and I also see that what are my intentions? 98% of the time it is like, it's not good. Like, for example, if I'm feeling angry, so I want to humiliate that person. I want to be like, see, I'm right or wrong. So I escalate it to devotees who are very pure, or who like, they don't have that anger issue. So
Thank you. I think you're very pure by being vulnerable like that and by understanding your intentions. I think it's sometimes very hard for us to understand our intentions, and escalating helps. It's almost like when you're in a problem, When you take the problem to somebody else who is not experiencing the problem, they're able to give a different solution. Not necessarily because they're more pure than you, but because they're not involved in that situation. You know what I mean? Because when somebody insults you, you get affected. But somebody who's not affected can give you a better and more calmer advice in that situation. So I think we should. Any other questions? We have a couple of minutes. Reflections, please. Anything to add? Yes, Prabhu.
I just have one reflection. Thank you for the great class. To the point where you mentioned about it's very lonely and when we close ourselves. So it just always fascinates me. Every time, whenever I heard about nectar of instruction, Rupa Goswami, one of our acharyas, and always it fascinates me that imagine he wrote that book, Upadeshamrita. It's a summary. It's a condensed version, only 11 mantras, and everything's about the top things, top 6 things, top 5 things. So for him to pick, so text 4 I'm referring to. I'm thinking of the text 4, the loving exchanges between the devotees. And when I first heard it, I'm like, wow, as an acharya, he had to pick the top 6 things in the entire Krishna consciousness practice and what it could be. And it apparently came out to be such a simple thing. He could have done chanting, this, that, so many things, and they come, like chanting comes the next verse, pure chanting. And he chose, first is Guru, top 6 things to qualities to look for Guru. Next thing, top 6 things to avoid. Next 6, top things, do's. So do's and don'ts. And right after that, he brings the loving exchanges between the devotees, even before chanting, which is text 5, the importance of chanting. So anyways, my point is, I wonder why such apparently simple thing, eating to start together, what's the other one? Of course, revealing and discussing.
Gifts.
And gifts. And I'm like, wow, such a apparently mundane thing, but that speaks to the point because it's a structure created to facilitate that you meet devotees, you exchange gifts, and then you sit down for prasad, and naturally after that, there's an opportunity to open up and reveal. So sorry, just
No, I think it's important.
I thought it's such a
Thank
nice
you.
thing, and it made sense that because our acharya felt that this is an important part of being an institution. Otherwise, sit under the tree and chant and be happy. Why create the whole organization and all the logistics? Thank you.
Thank you, Ranavan Prabhu. Any other? Yes, Ishan Prabhu.
I just wanted a clarification. You spoke about the ability to be vulnerable. Could you talk a little bit about it? You said
It's my favorite thing to talk about. I just, ability to be vulnerable means to accept that I am not good enough, but I'm not just going to be depressed about it. I'm going to bring it to somebody who I trust and be as specific as I can. Almost how I do it is I describe the situation. I say, I know I'm not supposed to feel like this, but this is how I'm feeling. Can you help me get better? And actually what follows is something which is very powerful. The real practical instructions on where you are, how you can practically navigate that situation in your life. And that empowers, because I cannot get rid of that situation or my tendency to feel a certain way on my own. I don't have that ability. If I had that ability, it would not have been an issue for me. But to be able to accept it, that I have that weakness, and I am determined that I want some help on it. So that's the ability to be vulnerable, because many of us experience weaknesses, but we may not be brave enough to admit it. It's actually being vulnerable is a sign of bravery. Because again, I'm not talking about open circles, not talking about people you don't trust, but it's a very sacred, trusting relationship where you share knowing that the other person will not take advantage of you. Okay, next time, see, you are like this only. That should not happen. And then with that,
is an accessibility feature that provides spoken feedback when you interact with your Kindle. We've detected a pairable Bluetooth audio device, ion speaker. Hold 2 fingers on your Kindle screen to pair this device with the Kindle Voice View screen reader. Wait 5 seconds to skip this Bluetooth audio device.
Jeevadaya Prabhu to the rescue. So, Prabhu, that is the thing. That is what I meant by ability to be vulnerable. And I think that is something that we should all cultivate if we don't have it, or if we, and look for people, because it also takes time to find somebody you can be vulnerable to. Because that person, you should feel trusting, you should feel like they will not take advantage of me, but that's a big one. that people should not take advantage. You reveal your heart and the other person takes advantage of it. We're going to go 10 steps back. So it's important to find such people and be able to develop our ability to, I have noticed this trend of people becoming more and more isolated, and I'm sure it's a scientific fact right now with the whole social media and everything at your disposal, that lives are very isolating. So that is the other extreme of vulnerability, where you are getting affected by everything, but you don't have the venue to talk about it. You don't have a realistic idea of where you're at. Like, it's all artificial. It's all created in your head or the impressions of other people looking at everybody else's life. So we don't want to go there because, again, it's isolating and it's more likely to take you to the exit than it's likely to keep you in the orbit. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone? Okay. So we'll conclude. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was very nice. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti vaishnavendra ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Sorry, oh, shish.